This is Majin Oni, and here's part 2 for the first week of DC's Relaunch. Here's the rest of the books. Justice League International number 1. I thought this was just like an average story. Basically, what's going on is the UN wants to form their own Justice League because the Justice League doesn't answer to anybody. And so they want somebody that basically where they can control and blame when things go wrong. Now, what they do is, in order to convince the UN to do this, they have to obviously take an international group of characters, which is, it's all right to do something like that. But the bickering between some of these characters, I can tell, is already going to get old, especially between Russia and China. Now, the art, I think, the art's decent. It's nothing like wow, but it's all right. It's weird seeing Batman be buddy with Guy, and he seems out of character, I guess you can say, and that's mostly because of the way Batman used to work under the old DC. But this Batman's I guess you can say a kinder, friendlier Batman in this issue. Batman jumps aboard or stows away on the plane so he can keep an eye on what's going on with the Justice League International, because he doesn't trust the UN and what they're up to. But I think, if anything, this is just average. I don't think it's going to win any awards type thing. Batgirl number 1. I am firmly against this title, the way it is. I don't like the idea of Barbara Gordon walking again, and there's a part of me that would have accepted it depending upon maybe what they did to get her walking again, but the way they did it right now is they're just saying it's a miracle. They're saying, yeah, sure, Joker did shoot her, and for 3 years she didn't walk, but a miracle happened. Now, I fully understand that they're going to explain that later on down the road. They shouldn't need to throw it in the very first issue, but just the fact they're using the word miracle just leads me to believe it's going to be something hokey. I can see where there's going to be a lot of people who are going to like this book, but just because I'm so against this change, especially when you had Stephanie as a potential Batgirl, and then they completely ripped apart the Birds of Prey into what it is now. I just have a hard time with this. There's basically a group of killers that are running around, and Barbara Gordon looks through her dad's files, sees things that he can't figure out, and then she goes after him, type thing. That's the gist of the story. The story's well written, because it's Gail Simone, but I just have issues with it. Green Arrow was a letdown, complete letdown. I don't think, as this story stands, I don't think, the way the writing is, I don't think this book is going to last the way it is. I don't like Ollie losing his goatee. Don't get me wrong, he looks like a more hipper, more modern Green Lantern, but to me, he also looks like now Hawkeye with a green palette. So I don't think that they did a good job with his redesign, and it's not a really compelling story either. You have Ollie in charge of his company. He's got a CEO who's upset because he doesn't pay as much of attention. He doesn't snap to like the guy would want, because he's off fighting criminals. The supervillains he fights are even uninspiring. I mean, they get taken out so easily. But then later on, it looks like there's going to be there's like a team of them. But even looking at this team, I'm like going, really? This is the best you could come up with? I really expected better than this. It just fell it fell flat. Action Comics number 1, I really enjoyed the story. Grant Morrison, I think, did a fantastic job with this, and I think he's redeemed himself quite a bit compared to what he did with, like, for example, the Return of Bruce Wayne. This is basically the story of when Superman first appears. Well, everything else is 5 years later, except for Justice League. This is basically day one type thing. And this is like a really great issue. There's this one scene where it even reminded me of Spider-Man, which I'll show in just a second. What he's doing is he's not going after, there's no Brainiac, there's no super like Toyman or Mixaplake or Bizarro, none of that stuff. He's going after people who are above the law and bringing them, to justice, which I think is a good concept. And of course, because he's a superhero, they don't know who he is. The police are reacting in a strong way, the opposite direction. You have General Lang hooking up with Lex Luthor to try to bring him in. Now, what I thought was kind of interesting, I mean, not interesting, but one thing I really liked is, I mentioned before he looked like Peter Parker, and when he goes back to his apartment, let me see if I can find the page now, he messes up his hair a little bit, he meets his landlord, and she's like, I'm here for the rent, and Carter's like, here's your rent, and that part's not like Peter, but if you look at this, these pages here, it really does kind of remind me of Peter. So you can kind of identify yourself with the character a little more before he at least puts on his costume. Now you have Lois and Jimmy here. Clark's telling they don't really know each other like they do in the regular issues or the old ones. Like Lois has a boyfriend type thing, and he warns Jimmy, don't go on the train. The train's something's going to happen, and basically this is Lex Luthor's trap, where the train is out of control. Superman tries to stop it, and eventually he does manage to stop it, but it looks like he's knocked out, and then he's captured. He's going to be captured. Great first issue. Fantastic. I just wish more of the first issues were like this. This captured a lot that needed to be done to install faith in their direction, and they hit a home run with this one. Justice League. Now, this is probably Jim Lee's his finest work I've seen in years. The artwork is just fantastic. The story, I don't know, maybe Jeff Johns needed a vacation or something like that, because it's very basic, it's very generic, it's by the numbers, it's everything that he needed to do to get the story done to establish certain key points. And because he went that direction, he didn't challenge it like Grant Morrison challenged Action Comics. It kind of felt a little flat. Because basically what it is a parademon comes in to Gotham, Batman's on a case, the police don't know who Batman is, so they're shooting everything type thing. You have Green Lantern, who's the protector of the universe. He goes, we detected this dimensional thing, space rift, so he's coming to investigate. They don't know each other. And then, they're trying to feel each other out to see what their abilities are type thing. And one of the sequences I really liked was they go into the sewers looking for the parademon, and you have, Hal Jordan going, well, what's your superpower? Can you fly? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then he's like, you can't do anything. And then Batman just steals his rank. And then, Hal's like, well, I wasn't paying attention. Well, he didn't say those words, but you get the gist. And, let's say if I had the will up there, you wouldn't have done it. Batman just like, yeah, I'd do it again anyways, doesn't matter. So that's what I liked. I love this interaction between the two. Then, after there, then eventually you get a quick peek at Cyborg, which is, it's a needed 2 pages, but it's a useless 2 pages. Or 3 pages, sorry. Then they eventually go to Metropolis, they meet Superman, and it's basically the 3 of them meeting Superman. So all it's doing is just laying the foundation, saying, here are the characters, this is how they're first meeting. It's very bland, it's very generic, but it's very pretty to look at. The art is really, really, really strong. I'm really impressed by it. Because, like I said, I think this is Jim Lee's best work so far. So this is basically it's an average book that does what it needs to do. Animal Man, number 1. This was a surprise. was kind of hoping that maybe Animal Man might have turned out to be an interesting title, and it was. Basically, Buddy Baker, he's got that troubled life where it's like, do you want to be the superhero? Do you not want to be the superhero? He's got the wife and kids. The kids want pets. He can't have a pet because of his powers. And, eventually what happens is that there's a disturbance at a hospital, and he goes to save the day type thing. And at the end of the book, his daughter starts to have or exhibit a power. And her power is actually kind of scary considering what she can do. Now, I think the art is not pretty. Like for example, if you were to compare it to something like this, or even Action Comics, it doesn't look clean like that. But I think the art style works perfect with this type of story. You don't want somebody like Jim Lee or, like David Finch or something like that working on this type of story. You want someone who's a little bit, I don't want to say more realistic, but, he's able to give you different types of panels, different types of the way to envision it. And I think that the team that you have here is perfect. You have, I think it's Foreman who's doing the art, and it's fantastic. I like it the way it is. Animal Man is definitely going to be one of the ones that I'm going to keep buying, and I'm really looking forward to reading what's going to happen in issue 2 and 3. And depending upon if DC ever decides to start trading some of these books, if this keeps it up, this will definitely be a trader. I'm going to save this one for last. Batwing. I don't know about Batwing. I think the art is unique. I think the art is good. I think this book really needs to set itself apart from the regular Batman titles, and the look and feel of this book definitely does that. It's a lot more gruesome than a regular Batman title or what you would expect from a Bat title. I like that, because since this takes place in, I believe, Africa, I think it should have a different look, different feel, different everything to it. I don't think I can get into Batwing. If they called him maybe, I don't know, Zebra Man, maybe I could get into that a little bit more. Or if they called him anything other than Bat in the title, I think I might have gotten into it just a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know. I can't really endorse this title yet. I can see that it's trying new things. It's trying a different avenue in terms of the story, because you have, like I said, the killings. You have a superhero team that appeared and disappeared, and there's a lot of political stuff going on at the same time. And I think it has potential, but I don't know if I can be on this for the long haul. I am curious to see what the second issue is going to be like, though. But I can say that this is not going to be one of the titles I'm going to read first. And finally, Hawk and Dove. This has got to be the very worst title I have read out of the relaunch so far. The art... Okay, I'm not going to talk about the art first. Let's just talk about the story. It's stupid. It's just outright stupid. And I hate saying the word stupid. You have basically Hawk and Dove appear. They're connected. The crisis happened because they made mention of Don, Hank's brother. And we know Don's dead. So we know something happened to do that. So I'm assuming crisis did happen. There's a terrorist type thing. There's zombie people, and they're on an airplane. They don't use proper teamwork together, and they almost destroy the Washington Monument. Dove is still dating Dead Man, and she makes a reference that there's a connection between her and Don that she doesn't want to tell Hank. Hank's dad is complaining because of the Dove, and then Hank's not really like a smart kid, and it's just not good. This actually made me. It hurt me. It provided me great pain because as I'm reading this uninspired script, I'm looking at Rob Liefeld's art, and my gosh, he just can't draw. I mean, look at these. I mean, I understand he's got his extreme fans out there, and they're gonna eat this thing like poo cupcakes. But let me just tell you, this has got to be. This is the comic. Like, for an example, in the meetings that they had with the relaunch, this is the title that they should have said, okay, we don't want it to be like this. Let's do something different. Because, like, my God, he can't draw. And look at the body proportions are wrong. Even him punching and holding this body, it doesn't even look good. Everybody's mouths are like, they always look like they're constipated or angry, and I should really study this book a little bit more, because like you'll notice things like, okay, Hank has regular teeth some panels, and other panels he's got fangs, and you got lips not even moving in the right direction type thing. How do you talk with your teeth clenched like that? I just don't understand that. And it's just I can't take it. Dove isn't even attractive. That's the scary thing. She looks angry, and this is supposed to be peace. She is supposed to be the avatar of peace, and he's supposed to be the war. So why does she not look like peace? They both look like they're about to kill each other and rip their throats out. And I'm like, this has got to be the worst possible story I've ever read. I really can't imagine any other title that they put out that's going to be worse than this. Even this zombie thing is so incredibly horrible. Like, at the very end, like, the zombie just appears. Like, how did the zombie get in the pool? He just appeared. Didn't anybody see the zombie fall into the pool? No. Apparently they didn't. And you have Hawk screaming. Let's get this quote here. Okay, zombie appears, and Hank leaves his house, mad at his dad, and he suddenly appears at the right place at the right time, and he says, you see the zombie going, "Nar," and then he goes, "You might smell bad to these people, but to me, you smell like dinner. You smell like Hawk and Dove." What the hell does that mean? You smell like Hawk and Dove. That would mean you smell like dead people. Hawk and Dove smells like dead people. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, look at the neck. Look at the way the head bends. The head looks like it snapped off its neck. And I know I'm ranting way too long, and I'm giving this book more attention than it deserves. But this book is just incredibly bad. Incredibly bad. I just don't know. This book is going to be the first one canceled, is my guess. Oh yeah, here, there he goes. That's what I was looking for, the fangs. He's got fangs in this picture, and he doesn't have fangs anywhere else. He can't even remember how he drew teeth. Horrible. And the only reason why I'm not ripping this book up into 1,000 pieces is because I need somebody to read this. If it wasn't for that fact, this book would be shredded. So let's quickly, I know I went kind of long with this one, so let's go over this. Average, average, very good, very good. I'm going to put this one right here in the middle because it's doing what it needs to do, and I need to know what it's going to be like once it lays the foundation. I know people are going to like this, so I'll put it right here. I think a lot of people are actually going to enjoy this, but personally I think it's a little bit sliding over here, and it's because of my bias. So don't take my bias into account. If you really want to give this a try, give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. This is over here, and this is actually not even on the screen because it's so bad. So I think if you go with at least these two, if you want just superhero bashing, buy this one. You'll do fine. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious to know what people thought of Hawk and Dove and any other of these titles, especially Animal Man, because Animal Man's not quite like the normal superhero title. Let me know what you think. Rate the video up or down, and comics come out tomorrow, so I'll have reviews, or I'll get my pull list for that, and have more stuff up. So until next time.